One thing I hate is when somebody opens up a conversation with, guess what? Now, it could be a number of things they have on their mind, and they're not even taking into consideration that your thoughts could be somewhere else. You say what? No, really, guess. Your mother's a $20 gutter slut. Ha 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 ha. No, really. Well, finally, you don't want to play guessing games, so you say, what is it? Deep down inside, you know it's going to be something that's not going to hold your interest whatsoever, but they proceed to tell you. Your suspicions are right. As they're going on, you want to kind of speed up the conversation, maybe make it more interesting. But as soon as you interject, you get, oh no, it gets better. As the conversation keeps on going, you realize it's not getting any better. This is something that I've taken for granted in my life. It was decent conversation. You know those conversations where you could actually go on for hours upon hours upon hours and lose total track of time. And it doesn't matter. This one talks, that one talks, and you're just going fluently. That I've taken for granted. Of late, I've noticed around here in my neighborhood, around town, and I've literally had the same conversation with different people. Now, at first, it sounds like they're on the same page with you. Their conversation's all right. But as time goes on, their conversation starts to get redundant. They're already giving you the best they've got. And in even further time, whatever they're talking about goes back to their own personal problems, and you find out that they're actually dumping on you, which in itself isn't a bad thing until it becomes over and over and over. No matter what you say, it's never good enough. They keep dumping on you until finally your mood is scraping the ground. This particular situation we're all going through right now, we're all unsure of what is really going on behind the scenes, but we all know something is going on. This is the major topic of conversation no matter where you go. But I have literally had the same conversation with two separate people that have literally said the same thing. When they start going on how their personal liberties are being infringed on, and they're really down because of what's going on and how it's affecting them, on two occasions I've said, well, you know, it's not just you, it's all of us. We're all facing this. And I've had two people say to me, I don't care about anybody else. That kind of puts you at a stalemate. When you hear that, where do you go? You're only interested in yourself. You're not interested in your neighbor. You're not interested in anything really I have to say unless it benefits you. You're not interested in how this is affecting me, this one, that one, or the other one. You're just interested in yourself, which kind of keeps conversation very limited. And unfortunately, people who only think of themselves are people that just don't get it. Now, there's a lot of people that do get it. And I've noticed over the last year and a half, the only decent conversation I have actually had has been over the phone with people in this community that I've actually never met. I mean, I've seen their videos, they've seen mine, but that has been the only decent conversation I get, basically because they're not selfish people. They're quite selfless. That's why they're out here. Just last week, I spoke to Mike Brook over the phone for actually a good couple of hours. Thank you, Mike. Your conversation was well needed. During that conversation, it kept running through my head. How was this guy a JW for so many years? And I've thought the same thing of other people that I've spoken to over the phone. Well, the fortunate thing is they've all woke up. And I've noticed the people that I have spoken to, and probably others that I've never spoken to, do get it. Now, a person that gets it, you say you will give simple directions to find a place. Just simple directions, and they'll find it. A person that doesn't get it, you give an up-to-date Rand McNally map, the best GPS on the market, and they will still end up 100 miles in another direction. And unfortunately, I'm noticing, and this is exactly what the establishment wants, when I heard the phrase, I don't care about anybody else. You can't even point out to them, this is exactly what the establishment wants. people that don't care about their neighbor, and it falls on deaf ears. I've actually lost track about how many people I've had to cut off in my life in this past year alone. Basically because they were very draining. I've noticed in some of my videos how beat up I was looking, how tired I was. I was literally drained. And this last conversation I had to literally cut off. It's like, okay, well, there's nowhere for this conversation to go. They would continually start asking me questions, and I just responded, I got nothing. When a person doesn't care about somebody else, there's really nowhere to go with that. But unlike that, people like the people in this community who put themselves out there, they obviously don't think about themselves. They put other people ahead of them. The unfortunate thing, none of us really knows what's going on behind the scenes, but we don't have to. You can feel something in your gut when it's right and when it's not. When you've got selfish people that only care about themselves, it doesn't matter what you tell them. You could tell them step by step things in detail. And yet the next day, they'll still ask you those same questions again. And it really goes nowhere. Whereas a person that gets it, you don't have to really say a whole lot to. They understand there is something going on. They don't need to know exactly what. Thing is, they will know what to do when the time comes. These selfish people that I speak of will be the first ones to fall because they don't have a clue what's going on. And I'm like, why even bother going into detail about what's going on? Because they're not going to get it anyways. Like I said, I've had to literally cut people off because it was getting very, very draining. Watching some of my older videos, I realized one thing, that everything I've said about Jehovah's Witnesses and Watchtower could be extended to the outside world, because I'm now not seeing much of a difference the way Watchtower runs things and the way the establishment runs things. To me, it's no longer about Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. To me, it's people that get it and people that don't get it. The outside world, for the most part, is as indoctrinated as Jehovah's Witnesses were. And the unfortunate thing, when Jehovah's Witnesses leave the organization, and I've said this before, that's only half the battle. What's the point of leaving one indoctrinated situation into another? And that's the way it ends up in most cases. And I'm seeing people that were never Jehovah's Witnesses that act the same way. They fall into this false sense of security. People are more apt to give up their liberties without even realizing it, just for this false sense of security. And to me, it's like the whole world is a gigantic kingdom hall. But to those few that I have spoken to over the phone, over this past year and a half, maybe a little longer, I've lost track of time, I've appreciated your conversation very, very much. Because really, I don't get a whole lot around here of any intelligence. Anyways, guys, you all have a happy holiday, and I will talk to you soon. You guys have a good day.